Hello and welcome back to Toku Thrill for another episode of GoZyuger Review. This is episode 32. I, I forgot to do the whole I'm I'm nice to everyone and I'm joined by the wonderful, the American, the your friend and mine. It's Riley.
Your friend of mine. Thank you.
Your,
Hello,
your
everybody.
friend and mine. I thought I'd make up for my failure to introduce you at the start by
Yeah, I
trying
was
to
gonna say I was afraid I wouldn't be able to talk. You were just gonna forget to introduce me, and I'd never exist.
I just yeah, it slipped my mind for just a second. But we got there.
But
How you doing, Riley?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
That's good. So, we are back with GoJuja reviews, episode 32. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
This one's called A Sudden Breakup, a big fight between knife and cake, which is an interesting way to name this episode, considering I thought that was the B plot.
Nah, well, I mean, it kind of turned into the A plot, or at least like it was pretty interconnected with the A plot.
It led to it, yeah, but it felt like the B plot for most of the episode.
It was a good B plot though. Any circumstance where like I just really like to like Hoeru and Kinjiro not even morph, just like sitting on a bench with shining knife and sweet cake, just like chatting.
Just chilling. Like, just chatting with their enemies. I can imagine them sharing a beer. But we get there later because first we have like the prelude to that in the enemy's lair because there's a big feast and Shining Knife is um having a bit of trouble cutting what he wants to cut. So Sweet Cake is like, "Oh, here, let me help you with that," and she grabs a knife and cuts something, but he gets pissed because that was his special knife and that's not for use, it's only for display. And they start a massive argument which ends up destroying the table and the feast.
Yeah, they're like throwing shit everywhere,
Yeah.
getting chaotic.
And you got Bouquet and Fire Candle hiding to not get hit by flying items, but they get hit anyway. Especially Fire Candle, he gets clobbered. F's in chat for the boy Fire Candle. But
Rip my man.
yeah, Rip the Man. And it's at this point that the two of them actually decide they want a divorce, which you'd you'd think might get a little bit complicated considering they're in one body, but that's where this episode is going. So
True, true.
they want a divorce, and then we move to Sword Village, and we just slapped in the face with what we knew was going to happen. Sumino just showing Rikuo her phone, which has a picture of Rikuo and Ray. And she's like, explain this shit. Why are you with him? And everyone else is shocked that, it is the same person. But we don't linger there for long because we cut to a literal law firm where Shining Knife and Sweet Cake are talking to a lawyer, trying to work out the specifics about a divorce. But
Yeah, they're finding a divorce lawyer so that he can bisect them, because that's what divorce lawyers do.
yeah, that's how it works. if you're getting a divorce, you get your lawyer is there to split you in half, literally, because everyone knows that when you get married, you fuse into one person.
Yes, we all know divorce lawyers and their trusty swords that they use to split married couples in half.
It'll slice you down the middle. Um, but he is obviously not that good of a divorce lawyer because he's like, I can only attend to humans. So they go to a children's park and they allow the little kids to grab one arm each and pull like a tug of war, see if that will just pop them apart. But that doesn't work. And the last attempt that we see for now is there's a knife vendor showing off his practices with his really sharp knives that he's selling. So they shocked at the price. They do try with that knife. We learn they buy it and they try and cut themselves down the middle with that knife, but it doesn't work.
No dice.
And we're back with the GoZyugers, and we learn that um, it says here that Sumino um reveals that Rikuo tricked a fangirl, but I don't remember him doing that.
No.
I remember the girl in question, but I don't remember him tricking her.
No, I don't know how that was interpreted.
Like, but what we do learn from Rikuo is that he and Ray were walking back from a show, and there was a fangirl who was like, who looked at him and went, "You can only be mine." And she went to stab Rikuo, and Ray jumped in front of him and took the knife, which was the cause of the injury that got him fired from his work in the hospital. And that's why he disappeared. That's what happened. That's what we learn. And when Ray found Rico again, he revealed that he had a terminal disease. So everyone else pieced together that Ray found Oto in comatose and just kidnapped her and used her as an experiment for like his own ways to get better, I guess. Uh, and after Oto, no, after Ray found out that Oto got better using the Sentai ring that she had, that's when he decided that he's going to search for more rings. And Rico apologizes for not um, saying sooner, which, yeah, that's on you, buddy. And he tries to explain that he wanted to be the one to save Ray, and rightfully, Sumino goes on one. She's like, "Did you honestly think I'd care?" And she like calls out like, "Give me my sister back," which honestly, Arikuo doesn't have that power. Like he's the closest one to Ray of the five, or the six even. True, but he's not in control of Ray, and Ray won't listen to him. So he can't really get Oto back as easily as she seems to think he can. But they all just
Yeah.
kind of storm off.
I was so obviously my prediction was only a little right. I was kind of surprised that like the rest didn't have a little bit of a bigger reaction. Like none of them visibly take a side or even seem like they care that much.
Yeah, no one apart from Sumino seemed like it was a big deal that he was keeping that secret from them.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting it to be like a whole team rift because of the secret, but it seems like Hoaru, Ryuji, and Kinjiro couldn't really care either way.
In fact, it seemed more like they were on his side of this because they were trying to stop Sumino.
I was kind of expecting like Hoaru to take his side, but I was expecting like at the very least Kinjiro to have a bigger reaction to such a betrayal to Sumino, because they're kind of portrayed as having a particular bond within the group.
Yeah, but no, we don't get that at all.
Well, what can you do?
Just keep watching and see what happens. That's all we can do. And like rant about our feelings on the matter.
True, true.
But we cut to Ray's little hideout. He's got his own little place with Oto in like this stasis, and he hears a voice in the mirror. So he goes towards it, and he addresses the voice as Bellum. And Bellum is telling him to destroy the humans because if Ray can't be saved, then no one should be saved. And Ray is very eager to agree. So we cut to Hoera and Kinjiro doing some shopping, and they see people running and screaming. Um, and they see Shining Knife and Sweet Cake, and just assume that they're attacking them. So they transform, and right as they're about to attack, the couple literally just falls on their knees in front of them and pleads for them to like strike them down the middle.
I did really like that scene of like you could tell they could tell like something strange was going on. Like they weren't entirely like assuming that they were just being aggressive, but they just like didn't know what to do, and they have a monster running to them because like you can see the expression on their face, and it's really funny, like because they're just like excitedly like oh go juice, and they're like uh I don't know what to do here. Maybe we should get ready to fight.
I think the funniest part about the scene to me is when they like fall on their knees and tell them to strike them down the middle. However, just looks at Kinjiro and then looks back at the couple, and it's like, "Hey, you haven't got to ask us." And he like proper goes for it.
And it doesn't work. I do like the he tries it, doesn't work. Kijiro tries it, doesn't work. They both try it, doesn't work. They both do finish finger and try it, it doesn't work. And they're just like, what the fuck, man?
Nothing seems to work. Um, so Bouquet and Fire Candle are in the evil base, and they're confused as to why they would fight when they love each other that much. And a Bouquet is at her Rikuo shrine, of course,
Of course, of course.
and um, the wall opens up, and we see Tega June. So both of them rush towards her, and she says that she's a bit concerned because they're out there, and there's something called the Calamity. So she's kind of concerned that um, Shining Knife and Sweet Cake don't get caught up in it, especially because Shining Knife was originally from where this calamity had like started. Like, his roots are from the calamity.
Mm.
And then we're back to Sweet Cake and Shining Knife on the bench.
Yeah, the bench scene where where Kidra is just like, "What's wrong, guys?"
You're like, tell us about your feelings. And the two talk over each other, trying to explain what happened to them and why they are arguing now. And after, um, who was it that asked? I think it was Kindra, who asked them, "Wait, how would a divorce work if you're like in one body?
Yeah.
Like, weren't you always one body? How does this all work?" Which prompts them to go into the story of how they met. And it's a very Romeo and Juliet type scene that we get here. We get this theatre play with a concept of what the two would look like as more human looking people. Sweet Cake claimed to be this woman who everyone just wanted her love, and she just brushed them all away, while Shining Knife was hated by everyone, and he was a swordsman, and he would just cut everyone down.
By the way, did you notice something interesting about Shining Knife?
It looks familiar, but I couldn't place it.
That's Hoaru. It's the same actor as Hoaru.
Fuck off. No, it's not.
It is.
Shining Knife, human GoZyuger. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's just Hoaru with Shining Knife's like face as a on his head. Oh my god. Beard. They brushed past each other and they had to elope, and they were with each other so long and grew so close that their bodies kind of merged into one. That's how they came to be.
I don't really
And
explain how they became monsters though, when they were humanoid before.
all that was said was they were with each other so long and grew so close that they became one, which is how they got their monster form. That's all they really say about it. Maybe it works differently in their universe and their planet, but very little was said about how it was done.
Yeah. For like a backstory that's supposed to explain a character, it really doesn't explain as much as it should.
Yeah. And as they explain all this, they kind of forget about their argument and go into this compliment thing about how much they care about each other. And Hoera and Kinjiro are just looking at each other like, what are we watching right now? Um, and then, okay, I don't know when when this actually starts, because the wiki just brings this up now, but at some point earlier, um, Sumino was out walking somewhere, and she encountered Ray, and they started fighting. And now we're back to them fighting. Ray is Magi Red. Sumino is transformed as her normal self. And Ray is getting brutal on her. Like, he's grabbing the horn of her helmet and slamming her head against beams and shit.
Yeah, it's a rough time for Sumino.
It's a rough fight. Like, that looked like it could like break your nose, if not kill you. But he's beating the crap out of her. But Rikuo, Ryugi, and Kumade all arrive, and they help out and even the score. And Rikuo tells Sumino to stay back, but she's like, "No, just get out of my way." And Kumade reveals that she can't keep saying this. And there's a hint that he knows something, but we find out what he knows because Bear shows up and says that there's another being inside Ray. And Kumide tells Ray to show them his true form or whatever. So Ray demorphs and he's like, shall we show them? I was gonna say Bellend, but it's freaking Bellum.
At some point in the scene, don't we cut back to the evil base? And Tegajun explains what Bellum is before we see Bellum.
Oh, it's actually right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
right as Ray demorphs, we cut to the evil base, and Tegajun says that the Calamity was this member of was this evil group that um which is to become known as a Caladis or something.
Something like that.
I think Caladis is like the strongest member of the Calamity, and Tegasword was born in order to destroy it and restore peace. And he was supposed to seal them all in a great battle, which I imagine he did, but some of them just slipped through the cracks. And then we come back to the battle, and Ray turns into Bellum, who looks absolutely menacing.
Yeah, it's a pretty good, scary looking villain design.
That is dope. Like he's like a bullfire with an energy sword gun and a shield that he can throw like Captain America. He's got the red and black. It's awesome. So Kumide reveals that he knew and that Ray was a part of the Calamity, and
Well, he had a
Bellum.
feeling. He wasn't certain, but now he knows.
Yeah, but it says here that he knew it all along that he was a part of the Calamity. But
Yeah, I don't know.
Bellum,
It seemed to me, based on how the line was phrased, that like he had a suspicion, but he hadn't known for sure.
yeah. So Bellum like casts this dark spell, which summons his brethren and calls them to take the rings of the GoZyugers, which confused me because only one member seemed to respond. And we'll get there because I don't remember seeing any other members showing up in the big fight against Bellum. And here we find out from Tegajun that Shining Knife was a part of the Calamity, and that he can be summoned by Bellum. And this is where we get to the most shocking scene of the episode, because Shining Knife goes into this trance state, and he uses these dark tendril powers coming out of his hand to like, and they travel out of the hand and into Sweet Cake's chest, and he claims that this body can only be his. And we see the eyes of Sweet Cake dim out, and we see her drop her fan, so she's dead. That's just it. He killed his
Drops her
own wife.
fan, her eyes fucking go black. This was like a crazy twist.
I was not expecting this.
Definitely
And we
threw
don't,
me for a loop.
and we don't even get a chance to um like think about her death because he just grows giant And before we can take it all in, who else would show up at this exact moment but Kuon?
When's the last time we've seen Garyudo? It feels like it's been so long.
I don't know, and unless I missed it in the episode, I feel like this is another incorrect statement from the wiki. Because it says here that Kuon claims that the couple never loved each other and they were mutual enemies.
He said that they were natural enemies,
Natural
which
enemies, yeah.
which makes a lot of sense because one of them is a knife and the other one is a cake. So he has a point.
And the knife cut the cake.
Yeah.
But yeah, he turns into Garyudo once he spots Hoeru, and Hoeru transforms into Goju Wolf, and he tells Kinjiro to fight Shining Knife. And we cut to the other GoZyugers fighting Bellum, and they're getting overpowered, and they're all charging. And then we cut back to the fight with the giant, and Kinjiro summons Sword Green, and he tries to like talk Shining Knife out of it, but it doesn't work. Hoeru is being no bullshit today because he just turns into a wild Goju Wolf, and Kuon counters by summoning 3 rings, summoning the clones of Dynaman, Changeman, and Maskman red.
He's calling in the mans.
Yep. He turns Change Dragon and Red Mask into the Change Sword and Laser Magnum and Fedina Red to fire at Hoeru, but he's easily able to dispatch them. And when they're fighting, Hoeru asks Kuon why is he not helping his ally? And Kuon's just like, that's a disgusting word. I fight for myself. And he keeps fighting. And Kinjiro, apparently with no choice, uses the Cupid arrow to finish Shining Knife. Which I thought, until later in the episode, I thought Shining Knife was dead as well.
So did I. I was thrown off by the end.
I thought that was I thought that was it for Shining Knife. But spoiler alert, he's alive. He's just retreating, as is Kuon. And then we cut to Sumino fighting Bellum, but she's knocked down. And Bellum is about to use his finisher on her. But Rikuo turns into Duo Eagle and stands in front to shield her from the blast, which knocks him out of his transformation, and the ring goes flying to Bellum, who picks it up. Sumino asks why he did that, and he responds that he couldn't afford to lose her like he lost Rei and Oto. He can't let his actions be why he loses more people.
Oh,
Which is a nice little kind of redemption in a sense for Rikuo. He's got a lot to make up for, but that was a really nice gesture.
yeah.
But another shot goes flying for them, and Kumade blocks it with some ice and tells Sumino and the others to run. But Sumino being stubborn, it's like, no, I want to know where Oto is. But Kumide just hasn't got time for that bullshit, so he uses his ice mist to have them all teleport away or something because they're all gone.
It's like you're gonna have to deal with this another day. We gotta go. We gotta go right now.
Haven't got time for your bullshit. We gotta go. And then we cut to Shining Knife in an alley, gaining consciousness, and he tries to tap Sweet Cake on the arm, and of course she won't respond. And he thinks that she's just joking around because he's like, "I can't wait." Very funny. Wake up. But then he feels the sensation in his hand, and then he thinks back as to the whole um calamity thing, and then he realizes, oh shit, I just killed my wife, and it just ends in despair as he cries out for her, and that is where the episode ends.
Well, there you
What
go,
did you
folks.
think of the episode?
Definitely an interesting one. Things are starting to come to a head. But you know, I think it's more leading to some stuff that's going to be really good than it is really good in itself.
Yeah, and it's very possible because I don't think that she's gonna return. We, we might have just had our first villain general death in Sweet Cake.
Yeah, maybe. You never know, but yeah, it's not looking good for it.
She seems very dead to me. Which begs the question, does Shining Knife have control over the entire body now? Like, can he move her arm?
Or is he just paralyzed on his right side?
Well, it's his left side.
Or look, I don't know, man.
Our right, his left, if we look at them straight on.
Who's your favorite character, Nightster?
Uh, I'm gonna give it to Sumino. I feel like she's the only one who reacted appropriately, and we really feel for her in the episode. So, Sumino. How about you?
I'm actually gonna give it to Rikuo. Because you know, I feel his struggle, I understand his motivations, his sacrifice, and what he said regarding his sacrifice was a very good moment. I'm gonna give it to our boy. Shout out to Rikuo.
Very fair. What favorite moment?
Uh hmm. I'm actually gonna give it to the death of Sweet Cake. Because I was not expecting it. It hit me like a truck. It was a very good twist. So I'm gonna give it to that.
Yeah, I feel like I've also got to give it to that because it was such a dramatic moment. Hit you right in the feels. Like, I did not expect Sweet Cake and Shining Knife of all characters to be the ones to hit me in the feels, but they managed it.
Yeah, they really were like they were like the goofball generals that you didn't really care about until this episode. They really made us care about them and then killed Sweet Cake.
It it's killed one of them.
How would you rate this episode out of 10, Nightster?
I would rate this episode. I'll give it a 10.
For me personally, I think it's very solid, but as I said, I think it's more leading to good things than it is good in itself. It kind of loses some points, or I guess not some points, but it kind of loses a little bit for Toeru, Kinjiro, and Ryuji just like not caring about getting lied to. Like that seems a little weird. Um, and I don't know. There were just a couple things in this episode where it didn't hit quite as hard as it could have. I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Very fair. Yeah, um that's about gonna do it, I guess.
I
All
guess
right, where
so.
can our listeners find you?
Linktr.ee/Riley Cinematic Universe. And that's RIELY Cinematic Universe. Check it out. It's got YouTube channels, podcasts, all sorts of content for you to listen to and watch and stuff.
Amazing. And you can find me on my solo channel Nightster, and you can catch me and Riley in Megazord Radio. The it's the show where we rank and review episodes of the Power Rangers television franchise. And very soon we're entering season 2 of Mighty Morphin. So keep an eye out for that.
Get excited.
Get excited. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And we'll see you in the next one. Adieu.
Bye.